Hey, it's Stacy and welcome to my channel. Stace Reads a Bit, and I'm back with what I'm currently reading. So August was a pretty slow month for me. I was kind of in a slump and got off track, and I'm attempting to get it back on track for September, but I'm facing a whole new bundle of challenges now that I'm back in school and trying to juggle that and my homework and everything else, and still managing to somehow sleep. But I am working through it. So the first book I'm reading right now is actually from my Facebook book club, and it's The Life We Bury by Alan Eskens, and I've read about 30 pages of it. The premise is there's a college student named Joe, and he is assigned a project where he has to interview someone and write a biography on them. But the complication is his mother is an abusive alcoholic, and his brother, who's younger than him, wouldn't be a good candidate, and he doesn't really have any extended family around. So he has to find some type of an alternative. So he decides to go to a nursing home and see if anybody there will let him interview them. So when he gets there, he starts talking to the director, and she goes into this long spiel about, like, we don't have anybody, everyone has Alzheimer's, their memories aren't real, or they're foggy. And then the receptionist is like, well, what about that guy? And it turns out they have a man there who was just released from prison and sent to the nursing home because he is terminally ill with cancer, but he's also a convicted murderer. So Joe decides he'd like to interview him. And this, I haven't gotten to the point where he actually starts interviewing him, but the way they're setting it up, the way the author sets it up is it flows very well, and I'm excited to see where he goes with it. I want to know, did he really murder that girl? What were the circumstances around it? How does this affect Joe coming from an abusive home? I have so many questions. So I think I'm really looking forward to reading this, and I'm hoping that I don't DNF it like I did last month's selection. Although if I do, I didn't pick this book, so I won't feel half as bad. So there's that. One of the books I said I was going to read last month and I didn't, I started for this month, and that would be Are You Anybody? A Memoir by Jeffrey Tambor. And I knew very little going into it. Like, I knew next to nothing, and now I'm about 100 pages into it, and I'm learning more and more about his past. Like, I really didn't know that he had done that much stage work back in the 70s, that he had kind of, like, really worked his way up. I only knew him really starting, I remember seeing him in The Grinch, and loved him in Arrested Development. I watched Transparent, so I knew him from that, but I didn't know he was in Three's Company. I hate that show. Why would I know that? So he owns a bookstore too. Like, how much cooler can you get? Like, hello, BookTube, why aren't we, like, hyping this book up? He owns a bookstore. So the way he writes, I guess, is similar to the way you would expect for him to talk, like, in an interview on, The Tonight Show or something. He's very entertaining. It flows very well, and I think that comes with someone who's well read. I feel like celebrities who are well read write better memoirs than maybe the ones who haven't read a book and need, that person that written with. But one of the things, like, little snippets will be so funny to me when I'm reading that they kind of catch me off guard, and I start giggling. Like, this is one of them. He's talking about his childhood. I actually marked it so I could read it to you guys, about how miserable he was after he skipped a grade, and how he just didn't find any joy in school, and he was just so unhappy. And he says, all I cared about was lunch. I would run to the cafeteria and have 2 scoops of mashed potatoes with gravy and French fries. The woman in the hairnet who served me would say, please, you have to stop doing this to yourself. I just started laughing, imagining this very young adolescent, middle school ager, just living at school, living off mashed potatoes and fries and gravy, and this lunch lady just like, dear God, stop it. You've got to turn this ship around. So, love this book. Definitely going to finish this. I'm really enjoying it. I'm learning so much about him. And then I'm reading a third book, or I'm listening to a third book, but because it's an audiobook, I don't have a book to hold up, and I'm not tech savvy enough, and I haven't figured out how to do an image overlay yet, so bear with me, you'll have to imagine it. I'm listening to Beartown by Frederick Bachman, And that was actually highly recommended by Erin over at The Waiting Moose. And I will try to find her video and link it below. So if you want to look at her, if you want to watch her review. But it centers around this hockey town. Like, the jobs are gone, the money's gone. They're out in the middle of nowhere. Literally all they have is hockey. And so you've got this outsider, this young kid who has been practicing, doing everything he can to try to work his way in and get himself on the junior team. And then you've got another player who has been bred for this. He's been groomed for it. From the time he could walk, he's been taught to skate and taught to play, and everything is leading up to hopefully him going to the NHL. And I'm totally in love with it. I'm enthralled with it. I'm about halfway through, and I've been listening to it on my commute to and from school and work, and when I do my grocery shopping and stuff. And I love so many characters that you either love, hate, or just when you start to think maybe you don't like a character, something happens and you're like, well, maybe you learn a little bit about their backstory, and maybe they're all right, I don't know. But it's all leading up to this event, and it says it right in the first chapter. And so I'm a little bit on the edge of my seat, but I listened to A Man Called Uva earlier in the year, and that book had me weeping while sitting in traffic, like just pure ugly crying. So I'm anxious to see if this book will do the same. And I think whether it does or doesn't, I think I'm going to be reading more Frederick Bachman as the time goes on, just because there's never been a point where I've gotten halfway into either of those books where I've thought, like, I don't know if I really want to continue. Like, I want to know. I want to continue with the story. I want to know where these characters go. I want to know what they do. I want to find out what they say. So that's going really well. And I don't know, hopefully, maybe I can finish 4 books this month. Maybe. Hopefully I'm going to try really, really hard. So if you guys could maybe hold me accountable. No, you don't have to do that. I'm grown. I don't need people on the internet holding me accountable. I'm going to read 4 books this month. So watch for my wrap up beginning of October, and I will have read 4 books. Promise you. So that's it for currently reading. What are you guys reading? I'd love to hear. Have you read any of these books? Did you like them? Let me know. So if you like this video, go ahead and hit subscribe, and I will be back with another video soon. Thanks. Bye.